Hi there, Dawn McVey here with Paper Tray Ink. Today we're going to talk about a really simple technique called ink blowing, which involves using your ink refills and a straw. It's as simple as that, so let's get right to it. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing you're going to need is some liquid ink. For today, I'm going to be using Paper Tray's ink refill bottles. The first time I saw this technique done was quite a while ago, but the adorable Amy Tan did this technique, and I think she used spray mists for hers. So any kind of liquid ink should work for you. The other thing you're going to need is a really high-tech tool here called a straw. Any old straw will do. And that is it. Just your cardstock otherwise. So I've got a piece of Stampers Select white cardstock here. For the sake of time, I've gone ahead and run it through my Vagabond with the Sunrise Impressions 2 impression plate. I had to double check the name. So I don't know if you can see the sunburst pattern on the cardstock, but the center is right here where the kind of the center of the sun is, and the rays go out from there. So I've got 4 bottles of inks that I'm going to use today: Lemon Tart, Harvest Gold, Berry Sorbet, and Hibiscus Burst. 2 of these are more sort of pink and orange, and 2 are strictly in the yellow family. I know that I want my yellows to kind of come out this way, and I want the pinks and oranges to be over here in the smaller section. That is basically about the only part of this that I can control because once you start spraying or blowing the ink, it's going to go wherever it wants to go, and you kind of have to be able to just let go of a little bit of the control with this technique and just be willing to go with it. So don't stress, but doing it like this makes it kind of easy because I know that once I'm done, I'm going to cover this center here with a sentiment. Because of that, whatever happens in the middle isn't really going to matter. If the ink runs together or it's super saturated or whatever, it's not going to matter because that's going to get covered up. So this is basically going to be home base for all the ink, and I'm going to blow it out in different directions from the center here. So I'm going to start with the lightest ink here. And basically, you kind of want to work a little bit quickly because what's going to happen is I'm going to drop several drops of ink in the center, and then you want to just blow with the straw at the ink and let it go wherever it's going to go. But you want to blow quickly. You don't want to put all the inks down because it will start to soak into the cardstock. So just do a few drops at a time, blow it, and then do a few more and go from there until you get the desired look that you're after. So we're going to start with our Lemon Tart. I'll just put a few drops in the middle and then blow. I'm going to give it a little bit more. This time I'm going to head this direction. And just to keep my work surface a little bit clean, once it gets on the nice thing about working on this mat is that it just kind of pools and you can wipe it right off. But I do want to wipe it off so that it's not soaking into the back side of my cardstock while I'm working with the other colors. So now we're going to move on to some Harvest Gold. I like that. I think I'm going to leave it with just that for now. And now I've got Berry Sorbet, which is a little bit of an orangey pink. So I'm going to put it kind of next in line here. The one thing you'll notice about these, if you're using ink refills, is that the ink is really saturated. Obviously, in real life, when you see Berry Sorbet, it's a lot lighter color. So just know that when you're selecting your colors, they're going to come out darker on here than what they typically look like when you're just stamping with the ink. So you may want to practice a little bit on some scratch cardstock before you put it on your, like in this case, I had this embossed cardstock. So I would want to practice first on some scratch cardstock just to make sure I'm happy with the colors. Just a wee bit more here. And see, you can always just turn it to kind of redirect as needed. And I'm going to fill this last corner in with some hibiscus burst. Oopsie. See, the back side is going to get really sort of saturated, but don't worry about the back. It will dry. The other thing that happens is, I don't know if you can see how these two yellows have kind of overlapped here. When this dries, that overlapping color will look really cool because you'll see two distinct lines where they overlap. I don't know how to explain it, but it looks really cool, almost like you've added just a layer on top of a layer rather than it just sort of blending together. So it creates a really pretty effect once it dries. I want a little bit more headed in this direction. And I think I'm just going to keep filling in here. And I think I'm going to fill in just a little bit more in this space here with that berry sorbet color. That kind of pooled on the back, so you want to be sure and wipe that off. Wipe off any ink you might have gotten on your hands so you don't wreck your work later. And we will let that dry a bit. If you are impatient, you don't want to wait, you can get your heat tool and go ahead and give it a little shot of heat to try and dry it a little quicker. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mount this on the front of the card. We've got some Summer Sunrise cardstock here that I've gone ahead and cut and scored to make a standard A2 sized card. And you'll notice that both the heat and the ink have kind of warped that cardstock a bit. But don't worry about it, because when we adhere it to the front of the card, I'm going to put adhesive all the way around the edges as well as some in the middle just to make sure that it's nice and secure on the card front and flat. Okay, so aside from that, the next thing we're going to do is I've got Limitless Layers 1 3/4 inch circle die, a couple of die cuts here, the circle and the pinked edge, and I'm going to stamp a sentiment. This is the birthday sentiment from the Tagged Sentiment stamp set. And I'm going to stamp it in Hibiscus Burst ink. And now I'm just going to pop it all together. I've got some foam adhesive here we'll use to pop this on the front of the card. And now I'm going to put this right over that center portion where the center of the sun was on the white cardstock. And there we have it.
I hope I've inspired you to try your hand at ink blowing. I can't wait to see what you come up with. If you'd like to play along with this week's challenge, be sure to head over to Nicole Hetty's blog where you can add a link to your project. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day. This has been Dawn McVey with Make It Monday.